Hey everyone, this is Stephen Strawn at Cast Iron Cookware. We can find information to help you better collect, restore, and use cast iron cookware. Today we're going to be cooking baked potatoes, and we're going to be cooking them in cast iron cookware. And we're going to do that coming right up. Okay, the first thing we got to do before we get started is decide how many we're going to cook. And I'm going to choose to cook 7. And I went ahead and dry fitted them in my cast iron cookware. Now, if you want to cook a lot more than that, you might need a bigger pot. Now, 7 is quite a bit for our little family, but I want to make sure the lid will fit on this one. So the lid will fit, so I dry tested them and it will fit. But if you want to cook a lot more, then you can move up to a Big Daddy like this big number 12 Lodge. And you know, you could actually cook the entire Dutch oven and all in this one. But we're not going to need to cook that many. We're just going to be cooking 7. But if you want to cook a lot and you got a big group to feed, this one here will take care of it. But we're just going to use my little number 8. But it's got the drip basters, and yes, it will fit. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, don't wrap it in tin foil. I've heard people say, wrap it in tin foil. And it has a lot to do with how crispy you want your skin. Now me, I'm the kind of person who likes to eat the skin. Now if you cook it without it being wrapped, the skin is going to be flaky, it's going to be crusty, and it's going to be kind of hard to chew. I personally like to go ahead and wrap mine. And that's what we're going to do here. Not just that, it also makes it a lot easier to clean up your cast iron when you get finished. So we're going to, first of all, we're going to take these and we're going to scrub them. If you have watched any of my videos at all, you have seen me use my little scrubber. So I'm going to take these to the sink. I'm going to scrub them really good because I plan on eating the skin. And then we're going to come back and wrap them up and put them in our pot. Okay, we've got our potatoes scrubbed. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat them with butter. Now I've heard people say, don't coat them with butter, use oil. But if you use olive oil, then you have the strong olive oil taste. Now if that's what you want, that's fine. But I'm going to use some melted butter. And it's always a good idea to use russet potatoes when it comes to baking potatoes. The starches just seem to make it be a lot better, flakier potato. One thing I did is I went ahead, I've got 7 potatoes, so I went ahead and got 7 pieces of aluminum foil out because I'm going to have butter all over my hands in just a minute. So I've got some melted butter, and it's partially melted, partially not. But I'm just going to go ahead and just rub it on. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and rub every one of our potatoes, especially while I have it on my hands. And don't worry about your hands getting butter on. You can always wash them. So I'm going to get every one of them coated with some butter. Now you can go ahead and let them dry. I didn't, they're still a little bit damp. It's not going to be an issue. And once you get butter on your hands, you don't even need to get it out of the plate. Okay, we're going to go ahead and wipe our excess butter off of our hands. And this here is really what makes a difference. That is kosher salt. And you need to be really liberal. I just covered up really good. And there's a lot of it going to kind of fall underneath it. And that's fine, that's what you want. You want that salt to, yep. One thing I got to do. Go ahead and poke some holes in your potatoes. Because if you don't, I've heard, they will explode. Now I've not had that happen, but I have heard it will happen. So just a few holes in the potato just to let it vent. We're going to stack these inside our Dutch oven. And what I like to do is I like to roll my excess onto one side. A lot of people will just screw the ends up, but I just like to fold my heaviest side to the bottom. And they don't have to be laying down flat. We just want to make sure our lid will cover. Okay, we're going to preheat our oven to 400 degrees and we're going to leave them in there for about an hour for the size of these potatoes. Now, if you would like to use a temperature gauge and measure it, once they get to 205 degrees, they are ready in the center. So if you've got a thermometer that you can stick into it, when you get to 205 degrees, you're good. But a lot of times you don't have that. So we're going to do 400 degrees for 1 hour. And after 1 hour, I will poke a small knife into one of them. And if it goes in without any resistance at all, we know it's done. Now, some people will take, and I've done this myself, reach in there with an oven mitt on, give it a little bit of a squeeze. If you can squeeze it, it's done. Now, that's the way you can test it as well. Most of the time, 1 hour at 400 degrees will take care of it. So let's put these in our oven and we'll come back in 1 hour and check it out. Okay, our potatoes are ready, and I'm telling you what, because they are so large, it took a little longer than I expected. It actually took about 1 hour and 40 minutes at 400 degrees. And the reason why I know that they're done is I went ahead and resorted to using the probe thermometer. It just took a long time because they were so large. So we got to 205 degrees and they're ready, and I'm telling you, this pot is hot. So the bell is a little bit cool now, but I do want to go ahead and take the lid off. And there we go, the steam. Set that to the side on a towel. Now these are very hot. Now when I put the probe in, I made sure I put the probe in the one that was in the center. That way I'd get a measurement of the one that was most likely to be done last. So I know the center one, and it was probably the biggest one of all, and it was the one in the center, so the ones on the outside have got to be done. So we're going to take one out, and I burned my oven mitt. I'm going to go ahead and use a washcloth to handle this. Remember, we had it upside down, so all we have to do first is unfold. One good thing about tin foil, it cools off really quickly. You still got to be careful so you don't burn yourself. We're just going to roll that out. I'll tell you what, I can smell the aroma. That smells like a good potato. Now, when I cut a baked potato, I don't cut all the way across. I kind of just cut it down the center and not all the way to the ends. The reason why I do it like this, I like to do it like the old-fashioned change purses, where you just squeeze it from the ends and it pops open. That way you can, and that is flaky. Nice and flaky. Next thing I want to do is I want to add some butter. So it's probably a lot of butter. I'm just going to keep it kind of simple. Salt, and I need some larger holes in this pepper. We're going to take it up a notch and add us a little feta cheese. Now this stuff is rich. I also chopped up a few green onions. And we're going to add a little bit of daisy. Okay, here we go. That is a great flaky potato. And the feta cheese really kicks it up. You can use cheddar, pepper jack, whatever kind of cheese you want. One thing about a baked potato, you can add any topping you want. You can just pour chili on top of it and it'll be great. Now that's a good potato. I know this is just a simple recipe, but I'm telling you what, it is a delicious snack. If you want to eat a potato by itself and load it down, that's great. Or if you want to add a juicy steak along with it, that's even better. But this is going to be good just by itself. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll keep more of them coming. Also, don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Sign up for our email list too if you'd like to be notified of new things coming up with Cast Iron Cookware. Thanks again for watching.